Let's do another one. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is JD from Studio 2105. Welcome back to MixStream Online and another episode of Weekly Update Wednesdays. Welcome to all the new viewers and a big shout out and thank you. We do not want to forget the patrons who help support the channel financially. If you're new here, do click on the subscribe button, become a subscriber to the channel. It will really help the channel out. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you'll be informed every time I upload a new video. Sign up for the email list and download my free personal snare drum libraries and also my reverb IR libraries. Do consider signing up to become a patron as well if you want to help support the channel financially and the creation of content such as the videos like this. Head on down to the website below www.patreon.com/studio2105. You sign up to become a patron, you enjoy special perks and benefits. For example, if you become a VIP patron, you get one-on-one tutorial and also mentoring sessions with me, exclusive behind the scenes content, and also discount codes that you can use towards any of the studio services here at Studio 2105. For this week's update, I'm proud to share with you that the album from the band South and the Lowlands, titled Lionheart, is finally out. It is available now on all major digital streaming platforms, for example, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you can find good music, and obviously on YouTube as well. Prior to this, they actually released a single, right? It was also on YouTube. There was also a video here. I'll link you guys to the video on YouTube. Just click on it and it will take you there so you can check it out. But now the full album is out and I'm very, very proud to announce and to share it with you. They recorded it here, I think, a good nearly 3 years ago. So it's a while. So it really took a while for them to actually put the album out. And, listening back to the track, it was really, really amazing songs. I really loved the songs that were written. Performances, the delivery by entire band was amazing. So it was a really, really fun and exciting and a project that we're very proud to work out. So, right, head on down. I'll leave the link again down in the description below. The video you can always check out here as well. Go and check out, right, Lionheart from South and the Lowlands. Without further ado, let's head on down to this week's featured question. In your mixes, do you tend to do a lot of hard panning versus mostly centered, with a few parts slightly panned, perhaps? Is it also genre dependent? This is a great question about panning. So my answer is yes, I hard pan a lot of my parts. Okay, if you watch any of my episodes of MixStream, you'll be able to take a look at how I approach mixing, how I pan parts, and obviously, the other stuff such as EQ and compression. But do check it out, okay? Right, my MixStream videos, I live stream them every Friday, and right, you'll be able to take a look into it. That aside, why do I hard pan most of my parts? Okay, so a lot. So the question is, why not? Right? Why do you not want to take advantage of the entire stereo feel, the entire stereo image, instead of just trying to intentionally narrow your mixes to make them sound a little bit more mono? Some of the reasons that I encounter, right, as to why they do not want to hard pan or pan everything wide is because they're afraid of phasing. They're afraid of phase issues. They're afraid that, on radio or on airplay or somewhere, there's going to be phase cancellation, volume levels are going to change, right, especially when you translate to maybe a mono listening system. But, when I talk to almost every other experienced professional mix engineer out there, and if you read a lot of interviews or if you watch a lot of interviews with these experienced and legendary mix engineers, right? Almost all of them would say that they tend to pan their parts hard left, hard right. I don't ever recall hearing or listening some of these professionals out there, right, ever saying that they, we like to keep things mono a little bit to the center. A lot of them just pan left, right, hard left, hard right. No fear, don't be afraid of it, okay? Now, so sometimes the question of, because I want to adjust the stereo width, Okay, here's my perspective of it. I determine, especially when I'm recording instruments, drums or an ensemble or any kind of instrument, even guitar amps, for example, I already determine the stereo width during the recording itself. How do you do that? Simple, via your mic placement. Your mic placement, how wide, how far apart you position your, for example, either a space pair, an AB space pair, or maybe an XY or an ORTF or Blumline or whatever kind of a stereo microphone array. That already helps to determine and set my stereo width, right? The balance and also the stereo imaging. Okay, if you want to learn a little bit more about stereo recording, I actually have a video on my direct access music production workshop playlist. Okay, I put a link up here. Go and check it out. Okay, I already determined it during the recording how I place and how I mic the instrument that I'm recording. For example, drum overheads, an acoustic guitar, if I need it to be stereo, okay, I already determined it by how wide I put my space pair, or what's the angle when I'm using an XY, a coincident microphone array. Same goes with the string section, guitar amp, or anything that I want to record in stereo. So once that's done, I already determined the stereo width, how wide it should sound, and I just leave the tracks hard pan right during the mix. The thinking behind this is that you get it right during the recording. Get all these things right, and then you will minimize all the sort of problems that you think that you might encounter during the mix, especially when it's related to phase cancellation or other stuff like that. So get it right during the recording. You should also explore LCR mixing. What is LCR? LCR stands for left, center, and right. Okay, so early analog consoles only had switches or knobs that you could select between left, center, and right. Early on in console technology, reliable pan pods, had not really been developed. So many records that we enjoy from like 50s and the 60s, take a listen to them. They're all mixed LCR. And well, does it detract from our ability to enjoy those records when you hear some of the tracks being panned LCR? It doesn't, right? One more thing that LCR I find really, really beneficial as well. It's not really in mixing. It's actually during the songwriting, the writing, and also the arrangement phase. Now, this was actually something that was taught to me by Bob Olson. Bob Olson is a fantastic and also a legendary mastering engineer. I've worked with him. I sent him a lot of projects for him to master as well. Bob, of course, is from Nashville, Tennessee, and he's a awesome person, right? I learned a lot of things from Bob himself. If you kind of employ LCR during the pre-production stage, when you're working on your parts, when you're trying to figure out your arrangements, LCR is actually very, very helpful in telling you whether or not a part that you've come up with or something that you wrote or composed is working in the arrangement. Immediately it tells you, it kind of reveals whether a part is clashing or fighting against each other. So I found that quite a useful tool, right? Use LCR not only during the mixing stage, but even in the pre-production, even in the writing and arrangement stage, right? So just a little tip that I learned from Bob Olson. Okay, now having said all of that, there are sometimes situations that not necessarily call for things to be hard panned, okay? Our best example I can think of would be the toms. So toms, okay, if you kind of hard pan them, first of all, it would sound unnaturally wide. So what I do with toms is that I will pan them to their apparent stereo positions in the image, okay? So I listen to the overheads. You listen to the overheads and listen to the room mics, listen to how the toms are panned, right? In those, again, going back to the earlier point which I made about getting it right during the recording stage by your microphone placement. And then I will pan my close mics for the toms accordingly. Another example, now, things like sample piano libraries. Now, with pianos, a lot of these sample piano libraries tend to have actually a slightly exaggerated stereo width. The reason for that, okay, is actually very simple, because they're trying to impress the user. They're trying to impress the consumer that, wow, this piano sound is like really lush and wide and reverb. But in the mix, I find that it's often a little bit too wide. So what I do with a lot of sample pianos is I kind of tend to bring them slightly in towards the middle. Okay, right, a little bit inwards, not a lot. Okay, well, I mean, because basically I don't want to listen to a piano that sounds like it's like 20 feet wide, you see. Okay, it sounds really unnatural. It sounds nice, it sounds impressive when you listen to it in isolation, in solo or by itself, but very often in the context of a mix, it's a little bit too wide. But that's my personal preference and taste anyway. When it comes to stereo sounds such as synths, pads, and other keyboards, I usually don't touch them. I leave it as it is. I leave the stereo spread as it's already is. With some synths and with some pads, though, I will sometimes enhance their width by using a stereo widener. Just to push it slightly outside of the speakers. I find it that it's sometimes cool, and it also helps to make some space for the other more important elements such as the vocals or maybe the guitars or even the said rhythm instruments. Okay, again, with all kind of processing, especially stereo widening processing, okay, be very careful. A little goes a long way. It's very easy to kind of go overboard and create more problems later down the line. Now, I also use panning as a tool in a mix to build dynamics. Here's what I mean. I might, for example, in a mix, right, pan the guitar only like 50% or halfway in a verse. And when it comes to the chorus, then I will automate it and hard pan it. In addition to that, I might even double track that guitar part so that, when it gets to the chorus, you get a wide, as wide a stereo image as possible, okay? Now, on the question of whether or not it's genre dependent, my answer is no. It doesn't. It's got nothing to do with genre, right? Okay, genre has got nothing to do with how you pan your parts or how you pan your tracks. Okay. Now, my advice is that take a listen, use some reference tracks that's similar to the material that you're working with, or the song that you are mixing. Listen to how they pan the parts, and perhaps you can use that as a guide. Okay. Now, this brings me to the next question. How do you pan and mix a three-part vocal harmony? Okay, bear with me. I have to get into a little bit of music theory here. So a three-part harmony will, generally speaking, it consists of the root note of a chord, the third, and the fifth above. So for example, a C major chord on the piano or the guitar, right, is made up of the notes C, E, and G. Now, the melody that's being sung by the vocal will very often be one of those chord tones. It's either the root, the third, or the fifth. So the remaining harmonies, right, the remaining two harmony parts in a three-part harmony will occupy the remaining two voices. So depending on the inversion, all right, and the mood or the vibe or the feel that you're going for, it could be either be above the melody, right, a third above. A third above will tend to sound a bit more brighter, a little bit more uplifting. Whereas if you use something that's a fourth or a fifth below, it will sound a little bit more darker, a little bit more mellow, a little bit more melancholic. Okay, so you experiment, play around and see. Right. Now, when it comes to panning, I tend to pan the vocal harmony parts according to their pitch. So the highest voices, the highest harmonies, I will pan them hard left, hard right to the furthest outwards. And going towards further the center, as the voices go lower, as the harmony parts go lower, I would tend to go towards the middle. So for example, if there's a top part in the harmony, I will pan it hard left, hard right. If you're a middle note, I'll go somewhere between 50 to 75%. Okay, again, these are all just rough numbers, okay? And then the lowest part is maybe 25 to 50%. So that's my approach when I pan a three-part harmony. Now, the reason for this is very simple. It's actually simple physics, okay? Higher frequencies tend to be more directional, okay? You can very clearly hear their positioning in the stereo field, in the stereo image, whereas lower frequencies will tend towards being a little bit more omnidirectional, which means that their frequency in more of a 360-degree direction. Because of this, if you want to sort of attain as wide a stereo spread as possible, you would pan the top voices towards the outside, okay? And then the lower voices towards the middle. Vice versa, if you want to have your vocal harmony parts sound a bit more homogenized, a little bit more how do I say it? A little bit more mono, maybe, you know, I don't really know how to express it. You can always do it the other way around. There's no right, there's no wrong, okay? But I almost 99.9% of the time, right, I always aim to go for the widest stereo spread as possible when it comes to harmonies. Now, while describing all of that, okay, hopefully when you recorded all these harmony parts, you actually double track them. Hopefully you double track each part so that you can pan them either left and right, okay? So you have symmetry in the mix as well. Now, if you haven't, right, then just forget about what I said, okay? Okay, just pan them to according to which way sounds best to you, okay? Whichever part sounds best. Now, ultimately, whether you prefer LCR panning or you lean towards more mono, the important thing is always the song and the performance, okay? So use whichever method sounds best to your ears and your clients, okay? You have to also check and see what your clients' preferences are, right? That's where reference tracks and having a good discussion and a listening session will hopefully sort those things out, okay? Check with your clients as well when you mix. What do they prefer? Have fun experimenting. Alright, that's all I have for you on the topic of panning. Thank you so much for watching. Do leave your feedback and your questions in the comments below. You can also always reach out to me and hit me up on my social media. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, and obviously I answer all and check in all the comments on this YouTube channel as well. Do check out the rest of the videos that I have. The Direct Access 1.0 Music Production Workshop videos are all online, okay? So do check them out. Sign up also. Come and join the MixStream Facebook community page. The link is down in the description below. If you found this video helpful, you found it informative, do leave a like. It would really help with the YouTube algorithm. Share this with your friends. Remember, if you haven't done so, click on the subscribe button and the notification bell, okay? Remember, do consider signing up, become a patron, www.patreon.com/studio2105. I will really appreciate, right, your support out there. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself wherever you may be. Happy recording and mixing. Peace, love, and music.